In Matthew chapter 5, verse 13, Jesus said, "You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? It is then good for nothing but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men." But why should we aim to be salty? To understand what's being said, we need to see the world through the eyes of the people Jesus was talking to. One way to quickly start to unlock the Bible is to understand it was written for us, but not given to us. Let me clarify. The Bible was given by inspiration of the Holy Spirit to people living at a different time. We can benefit eternally from what they wrote, because God was reaching all people across all time. It is far easier for us to understand how they lived than for them to understand how we live. Look at John struggling to relate to the technology we see today in the book of Revelation, where we see how an RFID chip holding a cryptocurrency wallet being implanted into the right hand or forehead as possible. Also, a statue he called an idol that can talk and move was indescribable in other terms. However, we could call it animatronics and artificial intelligence. These are precursor technologies that we see and understand today. Now that we have briefly cleared that up, back to being salty. In biblical days, salt was very costly and had several uses. It was used not only to season food, but also as a preservative that kept food from spoiling. But if it lost the ability to fulfill its purpose, it was a worthless cube that people had no use for. Let's put salt in the context of people. The church was placed on earth to keep society from spoiling. If even a few of us remained sprinkled in an area, we could season the entire area. By standing on godly principles and biblical truth, we stood in the path of the destroyer who was trying to decay society. Salt was also used as a medicine to protect against disease and infection. The church's role is to keep the lies from infecting others, and those who were infected were to be cured of their sin disease by a dose of the truth. Salt was also a form of payment. Have you ever heard the saying, "He's not worth his weight in salt"? That's because people were at times paid in salt. Salt was found in offerings as the antithesis to leaven. The salt purified, while Jesus told his disciples to be wary of the leaven of the Pharisees. In Leviticus chapter 2, verse 13, "And every offering of your grain offering you shall season with salt. You shall not allow the salt of the covenant of your God to be lacking from your grain offering. With all your offerings you shall offer salt." Jesus called the church to be salt to the earth, but 75% of the earth is covered by water. That's because we are to be within the sea of humanity, thus, salt water. If you are stranded at sea, you know you cannot drink the salt water. Why? Because it will cause you to be even more thirsty and become dehydrated. However, Jesus is a fountain of life pumping out fresh water. Jesus is the living water, water that restores our soul. So the next time someone calls you salty, don't be offended, take it as a compliment. In fact, you may look at your Salt Life bumper sticker a little differently from now on. Thank you for watching. For full messages on this and other topics, please follow us at the Canton Covenant Group channel. Thank you, and have a blessed week.